Hey, what's up guys and welcome back to Anime King 2, and today I'm going to be giving you part 31 of What If Naruto Was Neglected and Lost Everything. Remember to get this one to 100 like as usual, share this to all of your friends in your social media platform, and also guys, go ahead and check out the brand new episode of What If Naruto Was a part of the Legendary 7 over on Anime King and enjoy that guys. And he also posted a brand new episode over on Anime King 3 of What If Naruto Was Neglected with Josh and Seal inside of him. So go ahead and enjoy that as well guys. And remember if you're new to go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. Yes, you heard that correctly. I did have 3 channels, Anime King 2, Anime King 3, which I post what I fun every single day for guests to enjoy. So go ahead and click that red subscribe button and become part of the Anime King family. And thank you for all of your help and support, and yeah, without further ado, what is to begin this new episode start, the intro. So the last spot we left off as Naruto spoke to Neji and Sasuke about what he was planning to do, as they were worried about the others, but they had trust in their Hokage, as Naruto and Kurna and Kakashi made their way. But something was wrong. As they made their way inside the village, there was no resistance because there was no one there. They were able to sneak inside Tishikage's office, as they questioned one of the Chonins. He said that Tishikage was gone, as the man just left them here to make the village seem like it was lively, but in actuality no one was here. But Naruto came here to do a job which he was going to do anyway, as the others saw what was going to happen when they felt it. As Kurna and the others came back to where Guy and the others were, as Katsumi started to clench her stomach, as a giant blue fox emerged in the center of the village and destroyed it. Nothing but death and chaos, as he tore through everything despite everyone that was there, the civilians. He ripped through everything as he turned the village into dust in a matter of minutes. As Shikamaru was confused why was Katsumi acting this way. She didn't got hurt, but she was holding on to her stomach, and the way that she was reacting to that fox over there that the Hokage turned into. With that, Naruto came back as he looked pale as he placed a hand on Katsumi's head, as she returned back to normal, as Naruto also returned back to normal as well, as they made their way back towards their village. Meanwhile, while that was going on, as Onki was having his forces attack the hidden rain, as it was nothing but chaos. Gaara had tried to escape, but wooden vines trapped him, as a voice then spoke. As the voice told Tobirama, Naruto's son, to do it. As Gaara screamed out in pain as he felt the chakra being teared away from him, as he didn't know what the hell was going on. Chiyo had faced off against Sasori, and in the end, Chiyo had brought Sasori back to life, using her own life, as she saw that Sasori had a goal, a dream. As the rest of the battles continued all around the Hidden village, it was nothing but death and chaos. As Naruto returned back, his mind was clogged by everything he had to do, but Karen, she told him that no matter what, she would always love him, as that was able to ease his worries a bit, and he went to visit Yumin despite the girl not being his daughter. He was the one that took care of her, and he saw her as such, as she was asleep, but it made him worried about the future, as it was so easy for him to step inside the hidden stone and destroy everything. What would make the others aimless come here and not try to destroy everything as well? He made his way towards the IT department, as something was wrong. From what he got to the hidden stone, someone had to exchange prisoners, but Uncle said that she didn't know what he was talking about, and he could see that she was telling the truth. As Naruto tried to get some ramen, but Karin was always there, telling him that he ate too much ramen. As the others also came back, as he arrived to see that everyone was back and everyone was alright, Sasuke and Neji, they were happy. And Sasuke's eyes also changed. He thought that Neji had died, and then he felt strange and something happened. But Naruto told him not to use those eyes, as Sasuke had awakened the monkey Sharingan. But Sasuke was confused, his brother, but he listened to his Hokage. So yeah guys, basically that's what I thought you guys can switch across the place to for yourself. So to be in this new episode, we begin this new episode at the Grass Prison. Hoshiki-jo, the prison of the Hidden Grass, stood quietly on top of a mountain, surrounded by deadly mountains that had fierce traps inside. and a water down below with whirlpools spinning wildly. The master of the castle was MUI. Normally, he would never allow a prisoner to get visits from a shinobi from another country, but the offer that he had gotten was something that he could not refuse. No one would ever know after all, and even though Tishikage would probably be angry, what the man did not know wouldn't hurt him. So as he stood at his desk, he waited until there was a knock. As one of the guards entered, MUI-san, there's a Konoha shinobi at the gates, demand to speak with you. MUI raised an eyebrow before he stood up, as he wondered did they already have what he wanted. He wanted something that was special to him, the box of ultimate bliss key. They had offered to help him research for it, but he wondered if they had it. They just didn't want to give it to him until they got something in return. As he reached the gates, he stared at the dark, black-haired man on the other side, with the Konoha 4 protector on. Do you have the package? MUI asks. Package? I have yet to speak with the prisoner. It was none other than Itachi Uchiha who was standing there. What are you talking about? I was told to expect a Konoha shinobi with black hair, but he already came by, MUI said. Itachi paused at that. What? He who? Wait, you're the assigned one? Guards, quickly, look at the hidden stone prisoner. As the gates were opened, MUI and Itachi quickly made their way, as Itachi followed him through a set of hallways and corridors, to find out who this imposter was. As they reached, they saw a wall that was melted, black flame still there, and the prisoner of the hidden stone was dead. It was none other than Kitsuki. It was the son-in-law of Tishikage. Itachi entered and looked for anything on the man's corpse that could help him to find out who did this, but there was nothing. The man hadn't even defended himself, and his eyes were wide open in death. Someone did something to him so he couldn't even defend himself. This complicated things, Itachi said. Someone killed him before he could speak. Somebody who knew I would arrive. But who? This spy, whoever they were. They had to be close. Close to Hokage, close to Uchiha, close to the Jonins, close to Konoha, and skilled. They were terribly skilled. Itachi was so deep in thought, he didn't even pay attention to his surroundings, as he felt pain course through his body. As he turned towards MUI, who activated the seal that he placed on him. Why? Itachi said. Damn it, he dropped his guard for a mere moment. The shock of the revelation too great, and now he was captured. But why? I have gone too far to lose my objective now. Itachi's eyes flared with the Sharingan for his body to burn in pain. The prisoner's seal reacted to chakra. Even the smallest flicker of chakra would cause him immense pain. As Itachi dropped to one knee, "Release me," he said, "or face the wrath of Konoha. With the seal in place, there's nothing that you can do. Accessing chakra will make you burn up alive." He then turned, and if you leave the castle, it will activate nonetheless. But Itachi got to his feet as he launched towards the man, only for him to drop down in pain. Oh, I forgot to tell you, I can activate it from a distance. There's no escape. I can't let you go run your mouth. Take his weapons and throw him in isolation. The guards frowned, but they did as they were told. MUI was a leader here, but this is what he's doing. Kidnapping the right-hand man of the Hokage. Well, it wasn't going to end well at all, but this seemed a bit too easy, as Itachi was taken one of the cells. As Itachi didn't say anything, as the guard saw that he was a weak prisoner who could not escape. As Itachi didn't release a blade, kept right under his forearm, a trait that he learned from Missing Nin, a way so he can always be weaponized. The guard outside heard a noise to his right. The moment he turned, the blade rammed itself right into the man's neck, as it killed him right in the spot. He used his right arm to keep the man uplifted. Itachi pulled the key as he unlocked his cell and stepped out. He grabbed the guard uniform and his helmet as he made his way through the cells. Once he did, he took out the guards that were controlling the panel as he unlocked all the prison cells. As chaos ensued in nothing but a second, as Itachi mingled with the prisoners, it was causing nothing but chaos as he shed the guard clothing. There was a woman there. She was wearing a sleeveless kimono with a green top. She was wearing black trousers with green sandals. As she was mingling with the prisoners, she looked like a normal prisoner, but she was not, and Itachi's eyes saw that. The moment he touched her shoulder, he stepped away as she spun around to take him out within an instant. "You're on envoy," Itachi said. "What's your objective?" "Assassin, MUI. But you ruined everything," she hissed back. "Now you'll put the prisoner on lockdown." "How do I remove the seal?" Itachi asked. "Killing him works, but there's no way that you can." "That's easy," said Itachi as he disappeared once again, leaving behind Ryuzetsu. As she tried to come to terms with the strange black-haired man that was in front of her, there was no way that he can get close to MUI to kill him. The seal would activate and put him on his knees before he could. As she made her way towards the courtyard, as she saw Itachi staring at MUI, the two of them just looking at each other. I should have known it was too easy to trap the right hand of the Hokage. But tell me, why come out in the open like this? You can't kill me. Whatever you want from the Hokage, you're gonna use me as a hostage to get it. But trapping me was a big mistake, Itachi said. As Ryazetsu saw a clash, the next thing she knew, black flames and screaming. As the battle lasted only for a second, as MUI was being burned alive by black flames, as the markings on Itachi's skin disappeared. As Itachi walked back in the prison, the guards and the prisoners make way. No one attacked the right hand of the Hokage and live. Meanwhile, at the Hidden Rain, the ships and the boats that the Hidden Rain possessed, they were being put to good use, as Haku was creating an ice bridge, allowing the people to run across so they can get to safety. As she saw Zabuza arrive, yet he had a cut across his chest. It's nothing, he said. We need to get those boats moving to the other side of the lake and then out of here. How many trips will they need? 2 at least, Haku said. As Temari appeared holding her battle fan. Zabuza, Gara, she asked. I don't know. He took the fight with the Sand Shinobis. It seems that he had the advantage as well. But then I stopped looking, I don't know. Everyone then stopped when something rose up outside the village walls. It was the Shikaku, the giant beast, stood tall and mighty. Dread and fear filled everyone. Temari, remember the last time she saw this was when their uncle tried to assassinate Gara, and she could never forget it. But it was different. The sand looked like it was made out of pure chakra. She was confused, and strangely, it was helping. It formed a trail of sand from the docks towards a boat, and there was a word written on the sand in black kanji. Hurry. We'll ask him later. This is our way to get out of here. As Zabuza gave the signal for all of them to move. Just in time as a large section of Hidden Rain went down into dust as Onki vaporized it. Haku. Someone's gonna have to stand here to stop him from destroying the bridge. As Haku was confused, why was he Zabuza-sama? Bam. As Haku fell right into his arms as he knocked her out, he handed her Temari. Listen to me. If anything happened to her, I'll come back and kill you myself. As Zabuza jumped off to face Oniki himself to allow the people to leave. Meanwhile, with Oniki, this place was complex as he had to use his Jinten to create a straight path to make his way. These annoying troops tried to attack him everywhere he went, but he simply obliterated them into dust. The bombing from Deidara had hurt his side, but he got patched up by the medics, and his back as well, but still, he was still fighting and he would not be going down. As he already had his objective clear, he knew what he was doing. As he knew already without the Jinjurikis to protect the Hidden Stone, the Hokage would come himself and deliver the finishing blow. With the information that he received, he pulled off one last stunt. He hadn't come here with the help of the sand to win a war. Of course not. That was not the reason. The reason why he came here was to snuff out hope of peace through all the countries. If the stone was gonna fall, then the entire world will fall as well. If the Kyuubi caught the bait, well, he was gonna go there and annihilate his village. But the backlash of that would cause the land of fire terrible damage, because Kumo and the others would see a reason to attack the land. The reason why he was here was simple. He wanted to crush the Hidden Rain. Only half of his troops participated in the battle. The other half was outside, waiting. None of the boats would get by them. They would slaughter them all. None of them would come out alive. As Onki moved, he saw a shinobi moving towards him with the mist around him. As the Hidden Stone shinobis moved, but Zabuza cut them down as he launched himself towards Onki. Onki's hands were covered in rock, as Zabuza's blade clashed against it with that strength that Zabuza did not know Onki possessed. Onki threw him away, as the old man then flew towards him as he clashed with the old man. Zabuza felt something was off, as the both of them jumped away from each other. It's been a while since anyone attacked me in close combat, said Onki. You did something to my blade, didn't you? Said Zabuza with a growl. As he stabbed the executioner blade in the ground, it felt off. Strange. As Zabuza could no longer manage the weapon's weight, it was too heavy. Triple, quadruple the size. As he pulled out two kunas and started to attack Onki. As Onki had to use his earth release more and more, as Zabuza without the blade was fast. But Onki wasn't a Hage for nothing, and the man was having fun. As he clashed with Zabuza as he got an opening and drive a spear of rock right into Zabuza's side. As Zabuza collapsed back, coughing up blood. You're going to die here, Onki said as he crushed his hands on the man's head, dropping Zabuza straight down to the ground. As Onki lowered himself, Zabuza's head was smashed badly. But yet the man still spoke as he spoke his final word. Yes. All the explosive tag that was strapped on Zabuza went off right on Onki. Meanwhile, with pain, Almighty push as he blew away the path in front of him. As Ron and Roshi reinforced the bridge. As Nimiji and Junji just returned. As Toby materialized. How is the Project Atlantis going on? Asked Toby. Pretty well, said Nagato, but are you sure that we can trust her? As he looked towards a red-haired Jolene, a woman, she was wearing a black vest. She had the Uzumaki symbol on the chest level. She had battle tattoos on her arms. She's your family after all, Nagato. We were lucky to find her here, and she agreed, without each other, to help us. Strange, considering your history. We just came to terms. I attacked them to save the Jinjulki from the village after all, to make sure it wasn't weaponized. And yet I feel something that won't happen again, said Toby. Is there anything else that you need? Nagato said, seeing that the man was lingering. It appears I underestimate Oniki's shrewdness, or Naruto darkness. If they keep this up, there will be no one left to save. Oniki, did you charge against Konoha? Nagato asked. I would tell you, but then you would insist on doing the right thing. And the right thing right now is to make sure that Project Atlantis goes on. I trust your judgment, but not your emotion, Toby said. What happened? Said Nagato in an angry tone. As of today, the Hidden Ring has followed the same fate of the Hidden Stone. It has been razed to the ground together with the civilian population, Gar, Deidara, Sorcery, Zabuza. Everyone that was left behind are nowhere to be found. No, said Nagato. The Hidden Ring was strong. We have patrols, the defense, the weapon, the electricity. Someone tipped them off. Even though we changed everything after Kabuto defection, someone tipped them off. Nagato was pissed. So we have a spy amongst our ranks. Who? Someone at the top. Where's Fu to begin with? She went patrolling. She's the only one that can fly long distance. You weren't suspecting her, are you? She would be the only one to fly off and escape the guards. And I have invested too much in this project to see it just fall like that. If she did do it, if she did betray the organization, I understand. I will use it, Nagato whispered. Good, said Toby as he disappeared. Toby made his way as he arrived in front of two females. Hinata and Teiwai had barely made their way. So, what brings you here? The masked man said. I overheard Orochimaru spoke about you, Hinata said. He told me how much of a backstabber you were, and who you truly served. What are you implying, little girl? I came to offer you a deal, Hinata said. Deal? And what would it be, child? As his voice grew far more serious. I think you would like to know that I can have the Hokage outside of Konoha, in a suitable position for you to capture, together with the other half of the Kyuubi, Hinata said. Oh, both half? A kunai appeared in his hand, but I already know who the other half is. So give me a better deal, or say goodbye. Hinata gritted her teeth. What else could she offer more than Naruto's angel and silver platter? Another Uchiha. Repeat that. There's another Uchiha. Mikoto Uchiha, Itachi Uchiha, Sasuke Uchiha. I can deliver Sasuke Uchiha to you. How can you do that? I knew how to place curse seals, and now they're better. There is no longer a risk of death. Why would you follow? Mind control and pain. The seal doesn't just make one stronger. It grants them obedience to the mark. So you can mark anyone. Now this is interesting. Please, tell me more. Hinata smiled as she relaxed her posture. Deals with the devil were easy. If you kept your best aces hidden. Timeskip the sea glitter under the light of the sun. As white clouds drifted in the air, Seagull was flying in New Kiri Harbor, and yet everyone is preparing for war. Ships were moving out. As Maid Terume, she stood at the head of the Kage's tower, as she watched everything down there being prepared. Beside her was a nervous Kojiro, as he was slightly trembling. Kojiro, spill it, she said. Mizukage-sama, it's nothing. I told you to call me Mei-san, she said. Is this the right thing to do, he asked. It is. We cannot provide help to the real Hidden Rain until we take care of Kumo, she said. His eyes nervous looked around except her face. Kojiro, you know why we have to attack the Hidden Rain? Yes, Mizu, say it again. and I'll kill you, she said. Yes, Misama, he said. She stared at him. And why do we have to attack Kumo, she asked. Because they're one of the villages that still have a Jinjoke, and they could potentially be our downfall, said Kojiro. No, said Mia, she got to her feet. Because unless we take care of Kumo, we cannot launch an attack on the Sand. And since the Sand is now busy taking care of its wounds, the Land of Lightning has no allies, and Konoha will stay out of it, especially the mass murderer, said Mei, as Kojiro recalled what happened when news had gotten around. As everyone heard about what happened to the Hidden Stone, at the start of the war, the diplomats and the other country was told to stay out of Konoha way because they would be taking the Hidden Stone down. All diplomats, all daimyos were told to not enter that place. But some of them thought that, well, it wasn't much of a problem. But still, they realized when the Hokage had entered and razed the Hidden Stone down to the ground. But the thing was, the village was empty of their forces, only chonins and civilians. But the Hokage had wiped them all out. People were creating rumors that hell itself had brought out that skeleton version of the Kyuubi and feast upon everyone's soul. No matter what, no one could explain what happened. Thus, the fear on the Hokage became even worse. It was now an evacuate on sight order. Even more than his father who got a flee on sight order. You were to evacuate if you saw the Hokage heading towards your village. He was that dangerous. The Kishikage had died in the Hidden Rain soon after, fighting off a battle against the entire force to bring the village of the Hidden Rain down to the ground. And the Hidden Sand had lost their leaders there as well. So, the Stone Shinobis had nowhere to return to because their home was destroyed. And the Sand Shinobis tried to take over the ruins of the Hidden Rain because that was their plan. But Onki's plan was destroyed, so it was nothing but chaos. Konoha had went out and subjugated the entire force and the remains of the Hidden Stone, taking their lands and the Hidden Sand as well. Without a Kage, both armies had to surrender. Jonins from Konoha were sent out, and the people begged for peace, and they were given it, but under Konoha control. But the Shinobis that went out, the Stone Shinobis that went out to fight the Hidden Rain, and the Sand Shinobis that went out to fight the Hidden Rain as well, they were banned. So right now they were ex-Shinobis of their village. They had no choice but to clamp down on the ruins of the destroyed village of Hidden Rain that they did. So the forces that went to destroy the rain, that was the sand and the stone, now lived there. And with that, Konoha was able to take control of the entire area. Konoha controlled the entire west subject. Everything was theirs, while Konoha Jonins were controlling the Hidden Stone people and the Sand people, and they can force them to fight their own family at the Hidden Rain because they had surrendered. And they couldn't do anything to Konoha because their forces were so thin. If Konoha wanted to wipe them out, they would. And also, the Hidden Grass was annihilated because they tried to kidnap Itachi Uchiha and take him as prisoner, the second right-hand man of the Hokage. The rest of the nations now had to pay for protection, and the influence of money from those nations boosts Konoha economy. At the moment, the war was officially over because no one was fighting, but it still wasn't done yet. So the reason why Mei was doing this was because the Hidden Sand, well, they were nothing but puppets, controlled by the Jonins of Konoha. They can be taken down with ease. And then, the other nations that Konoha controlled could be struck by naval warfare, as the nations didn't have as much ships as Kiri. And the blood-soaked Hokage, that was his new nickname now, could not touch Kiri because Kiri had been moved to somewhere else. As the final ships left the dock, the village closed upon itself giant iron walls. As the village went down and went down, artificial lights coming on. New Kiri, born. It was reborn on the ruins of Ozu, as it was in the depths. It was Project Atlantis. There was no way that the Hokage could come for them. There was no way that he could reach them. We could have asked for Kumo's help, said Kojiro, instead of attacking them. How can I put this? Right now, Konoha is the strongest, and Kumo will not fight against them. He would rather work something out and get something out of it and fight against us. So if I had went towards Raikage and asked for alliance, and we got it, 2 days later as we moved towards Konoha, the Raikage would surely attack us, knowing that we could not win against Konoha, and that if he's allied with Kiri, Konoha would turn his might. The blood-soaked Hokage would turn his might on him. And then, what will happen, Kojiro? The two of them will attack us, he said. As Mei nodded. But what if we lose? Miss Kage-sama, he said. She threw the kunai that she had in her hand as it landed right at his feet. Mei-chan, from now on, she said, because you refused to listen to orders. Yes, Mei-chan. He didn't know why this mad Kage ended up a woman who tried her hardest to act like she was some kind of teenager, despite her not being one. And you asked, what if we lose? Well, we won't. We have the perfect anti-Jinjutsu weapon after all. Well, 3 to be exact, she said. Meanwhile, at Konoha, it was peace. The war had come to a stop. Everything was peaceful. Today was a special day for Karen Senju, because today was her birthday. She was turning 17 years old, and the more she grew, the more closer the age gap closed up between her and Naruto Senju. There was still the family love, but she was sure that she could get her own dad some way or somehow. As she was in the dojo, she saw everything was being set up. She shouldn't even be in here, but with her sensory ability she could feel everyone moving around and doing what they did. She was no longer a kid, but the surprise party was fun, especially since it's her father who was preparing it. Maybe she could go in a girl afternoon and chuckle every time Ino and Sakura tried to hide that they were trying to buy a present for her. But with Shikamaru in there, perhaps he already come with a proper plan of not making her find out. Suddenly, the bees started to buzz rapidly. Their Burmese clan guard bees gifted to her father on the day that he married that harpy of a woman. As the bees was buzzing furiously, they were underground. A warning. She had to move as the dojo ceiling collapsed. Neji was not here. No one is around here. As earth spikes came from the ground and she had to launch herself backwards as they ripped through the ground and teared through the ceiling that remained. As she ran, trying to get away, she was sure her father was going to snap at Neji, but then she had to tell him that it was not Neji's fault. She was the one that told him to go on an errand for her, because he was guarding the dojo entrance, but they wouldn't suspect that this would ever happen. She just wanted to see how everything was coming along. A shadow loomed over her, as something then tear right through her shoulder, and her body stopped moving. Why hello there, a voice said. The voice sounded so close, as a hand, her own hand, squeezed her chest. What the hell? As something licked on her face. Well filled out as well, the voice said. Karen was frozen in shock as she couldn't understand what was going on, but her body was moving by itself, as another man, a rather fat man behind her, stood there, as he had the normal clothing of a stone shinobi. Seikon, tell your brother not to harm the target, said Drobo, as Karen could feel another figure behind her but she could not see him. She shivered some more. Calm down, Drobo. We just have to bring her towards Orochimaru-sama. He never said that we couldn't play with her. You could have your way with her before we bring her back. Hey brother, we should go first. He would probably break her. The voice once again came from her, as she looked towards her right shoulder, as thoughts popped in her mind of what happened to her when she was with Riga. No, they were gonna... What the hell? Ukon said. What happened? Said Drobo. She fainted in shock, as Ukon came from the girl's body, and fused back with his brother. As Drobo caught her. No, I have to carry her, he says. He placed her on his shoulder. When is the patrol making the shift? He asks, as he moved towards the compound wall. In 5 minutes, said Seikon. This is our only window of opportunity. The guy was pretty clear about it. We're playing with fire. You know Orochimaru-sama won't be pleased, said Drobo. Doesn't matter, he said you want the youngest. We have the eldest. We'll use her as an exchange. The youngest has more guards around her than a daimyo. We can't get her right now, without causing a scene. And the guy clearly told us, this is the only opportunity to get in. With that, all 3 of them disappeared. Meanwhile, Naruto frowned, as he looked at the latest document on war damage to be refunded. Many were valid, but some of them were forged, just to get some of the money for themselves. As he shook his head, he picked up the cup that was near him. World, best lover, it said. If it was from Ayam, it wouldn't really be a problem. But it was from Karen. She said that it was because he was a loving father. But the way it was set, it didn't look that way. He had to find someone to go with his eldest daughter. Neji was out of the question. So was Sasuke. Well, those 2 were the only one that he could trust with her. Kiba was based on a long-term mission, as it made Naruto start to worry, as the boy had become like a adopted son to him. But still, him and Akamaru had been out, and it was supposed to be easy for them to track down the missing name, Hinata Hyuga. It was because of the report that he gotten. Hinata was kidnapped by Hayashi, and now she was serving Orochimaru. But for the things that he heard, she had blood in her hands. Too much innocent blood to be left alive. How ironic him saying that. But he attacked the enemies of Konoha, she, attack Konoha ninjas. There was a knock. Come in, he said. As my guy entered the office alone, with a grim expression. You wish to talk to me, Hokage-sama, he said. I do. I have received reports from the island of Moon that Kiri has been moving around your ships. Given recent events, this action is rather alarming. I will be leaving on an unofficial trip to speak to the Raikage about the situation. While I'm gone, since Hatake-san and Yujiro-san is with me, and Uchiha-san is busy, I'm giving you the spot of representative while I'm gone. But Hokage-sama, surely you are not to disclose this content to anyone, said Naruto, as he handed him a red folder. Understood? Guy took the folder and looked at it. As he opened it, he stared hard. His eyes widened. Guy-san, said Naruto. Do we understand each other, said Naruto. Yes, Hokage-sama, said Guy. That is why I'm assigning you here, said Naruto. You have the best master on us. Let the fire of you burn brightly while I'm gone. Yosh! I will do my best not to loot you, Hokage-sama, said Guy. Or I will run around Konoha 10 times, and if I can't do that then, you can go now, said Naruto. I'll have you call when I'm leaving, and not to work to anyone, understood? Guy nodded as he destroyed the folder. After all, he already had the information. As he nodded and left, the next moment Kakashi appeared inside. I fear that he's gonna replace the normal clothing with green spandex. Well, the orange leg warmers are comfy. Maybe I should put them as mandatory, said Naruto. Please, no, Hokage-sama, said Yujiro, as she stood in front of him. Well, fine, said Naruto. Seems like you two need to leave. I hear stomping, said Naruto. He was correct as the door came unhinged by a pissed off Snavy. Who the hell is this, she yelled as she waved for a clipboard that she had in her hand. Both of you, leave. I can handle it, said Naruto. They nodded as they vanished away. Look, brat, I understand. After the stunt I pulled. But this? Before she could say anything else, a kunai was thrown. As it hit the arm guard of his armor and bounced off. You bastard, as Uncle rushed inside the room. But she was stopped by Snavy from doing anything. But it wasn't him that was gonna get hurt. Uncle, stop this. As Uncle clenched her fists. How could you? You took complete custody. You told me I had to be there for our daughters. But when I go to pick up you from school, the damn envoys told me restrictions were placed. You bastard. It is within my rights. You're a liability. Like you're clearly showing now, said Naruto. You bastard. You had to take that away from me, she said as she clenched her fists. Just what the hell did I ever do to you? Naruto stepped forward. You mean everything? Naruto. Calm down, said Snavy. We need to know. Kakashi, as Kakashi appeared, take Midarashi towards the IT department and place in a session with Ibiki with her. This will teach her not to attack the Hokage. She was already on suspension now. She's off the active shinobi listing. Kakashi grabbed her and pulled her away from the office. So, what was that about, said Naruto. That what, asked Snavy. Oh. A Friday night the both of you got drunk and talk about my misery, he said. Naruto, we knew each other before everything, and she was my daughter-in-law. When you both got married, said Snavy. Yes, the only problem now is, you knew that she worked for Danzo, and she swapped my son for a daughter, and now I want to know why you still insist on being friends with her. Well, Naruto, that was years ago, and she was ordered to do so. Can't you just forgive her like you did with me? Naruto shook his head. No, I gave everyone a fair chance, and I won't let it happen again. Don't tell me what did you want marching here like that. Snavy pulled out the clipboard. This is yours. The code name is Patient 231, while the Hokage clipboard patient is always code 235, but they're two different things. So, this is a real one. You mind telling me why your heartbeat is that of a 61-year-old? Why your bones are so brittle? Everything in your bloodstream should be dead from this chart. But yet you're still here, going to work every morning, said Snavy in an angry tone. A healthy breakfast made of ramen, said Naruto. Damn it, you could die on your next mission. Is that the price of entering Six Tails? What's going on, she asked. He sat down. I am fine, mother, he said. There was a lack of affection in his tone. I do not need you fretting over it, so leave. You need checkups and tests and vitamin intake. You can't just tell me to just leave after seeing all of this. Naruto slammed his hand on the desk, forcing her to be quiet. I will do what I can for Konoha, and keep your mouth shut about this, or I will have you executed. Snavy swallowed thickly as she left, as Naruto simply leaned back in his chair. Meanwhile, with Hinata, tell you why I was boring. As a person to talk to every time she had to curse. As a lover, she had the same tricks. As a sparring partner, she was just too weak. But the only good thing about her, once she shut her mouth and play her flute, she could be used as a music player. As Hinata could use her for some music when the dullness of her life came up. She was a worthless pawn that could be sacrificed at any time though. Zetsu was an annoying thing that kept on popping up everywhere, and he seemed to be spying on them sometime. But she was no weaker than that damn plant thing to give her updates. But he was late, as she was currently in the mountain graveyard at the north of the Hidden Zone. This place might look normal, but there was a trapdoor somewhere here that led to an underground base where Tobi or Madara had prepared something special. Zetsu emerged from the ground. You're cute, but always move so sensually, said Zetsu. But straight to the business, I see. So, is Madara finding the plan, she asked, although she wanted to strike him with a Jayuken. Indeed, he has received confirmation that the plan will indeed work. Oh, and I have a bit of juicy news on the Hokage's current health situation. He will probably die soon. Using so much power of the Kyuubi is shortening his lifespan. She clenched her fists. I wanted to be the one to kill him. Anyway, we have the all clear to go, right? Yes. Madara, we'll let you go on your hunt. A wicked smile came on her face. All she had to do was swing her teammates to her side. She was going to see them again after all this time. She knew that one of them would join her rather quickly though. All that mattered was for everyone to play their part, especially Teiwaya. Well, at least she will feel important for a day. As Hinata arrived to the room, she saw Teiwaya, looking depressed. She sighed. What is it, Teiwaya-chan? She asked. You know, Orochimaru always said that the cursed seal was like a personal slave brand, but it would disappear with his death. He always said that as long as someone has one, they will always follow his ideals. But yet I betray him for you. Hinata nodded as she did not understand where the girl was going. Then he lied about the force, the loyalty part then. It would seem so. But why are you asking yourself that? Well, if that is the case, the beasts, those things with a seal on them, why wouldn't they attack you? As Hinata simply chuckled, those seals are modified. They're different than the old ones. It has loyalty enforcement, unlike the old ones. It's just Orochimaru's a Sannin. Wouldn't he account for that? And how did he go down so easy? This girl was full of doubts. Do you love me? Asked Hinata. As the girl started to blush. Yes, she said. Then, what's the problem? Just keep on following me. I understand, it's just that we have no time to think about what ifs. We have permission to hunt, and we should use this time. Now, stop whining and move, or that flute will go where you don't want it. The girl nodded quickly, but she kind of wondered why everyone seemed to know what was going on, except for her. Meanwhile, with Neji, he knew there was no use of failing his mission and coming back to Konoha alive. It wasn't that Naruto would kill them. It was that he'd rather take his own life than telling the Hokage that he couldn't save his daughter. And not to mention Katsume was carrying Yumi on her back, used the genjutsu to make her seem like nothing but a shadow. The news that came 2 hours after Karen's disappearance. As Naruto's reaction was startling, and it had shocked because he had doubled over and collapsed. It's not the intervention that saved him. It seems like he had a heart attack. He was always so strong, protecting everyone at the cost of everything, but it seems like he was using his life to do so. Katsume was a wreck, but she managed to steal herself. Everyone did. My guy was the officer in charge, as he gathered his team of Neji, Katsume, Sasuke, Yakumo, and they had to carry the real Yumi. They had no other choice because the kidnappers clearly stated if they did not, they would kill Karen, and they had to keep on moving fast. They had to make the exchange, but they have to work out things in their favor. No Jonins or envoys could leave, because if anyone else leave but them, well, Karen would die. How the kidnappers knew their names, no one had no idea. They didn't know what to expect. Only thing they knew is that the valley at the end is where they should be going. Everything's gonna be fine. Everyone's gonna be fine. Yakumo kept on saying to herself. Shut up, said Sasuke. Sasuke, said Katsume. What? We've been doing what these kidnappers say. Sensei is down, and if we give him the wrong news, perhaps he might die. Everyone is tense, Sasuke said, as he clenched his fist angrily. It is not easy, Uchiha, but we're shinobis. We should calm our emotions until the task is done. Afterwards, if we do fail this mission, then we can think of worse possibility. Perhaps seppuku. Neji-san, said Katsume. I don't think Naruto would be happy if we... I know, said Neji. And that's one of the reasons I would probably take my own life and go back and face him, because he would probably forgive us nonetheless, even though he would be suffering inside. Which is even worse, said Sasuke as he clenched his fists. Alright then, let's not screw up. Keep your Byakugan activated. There's probably a trap up ahead, said Sasuke. Moments later, Neji called a stop. as his posture tense. Karen is just ahead, unconscious, and tied to a tree. There are two men in the clearing, a overly fat one and a skinny one. They have no village symbol on them. This is a trap. This must be a trap. What choice do we have, Uchiha? I will not feel Sensei. I will not feed him either. So what's our plan, said Katsumi? We go in, they're expecting us. But if you could place some shadow clones around, I trust in your transformation skills. But she knew that Neji was right. Her chakra was constantly rising, and her chakra control was getting shotty because the more it rise, the less that she could control it. I'll spin again jutsu while we face him, said Sasuke. With that in place, I should get enough time to free Karen. I could do the transformations on Katsumi-chan shadow clones to take our place and have one of them transform into Yumi-chan while we hold the real one. I'm not really suited for a frontline battle, said Yakumo. Neji bit his lip. The plan was perfect. But why? Why did they choose his team? Something was wrong here that he was not seeing. We'll have to go with that, he said. The next moment, Drobo looked towards the four shinobis. He didn't know what Orochimaru-sama had in mind. Why he told those four to come. It made no sense. But Teiwai had come to them and given them the orders, so they had to follow. But Drobo then noticed something. Something was wrong. Suddenly, someone moved and cut down the ropes. As he turned to see the black-haired teen that was grabbing onto the girl, the hostage. As the clones moved, as Drobo's fist smashed into the ground, releasing hundreds of earth spikes that destroyed the clones. Chakra chain barrier, as chains burst out of the ground that were keeping someone underneath the ground, using chakra chains that the Byakugan could not see through. Kushina and Namikaze stood there. As Neji had to jump back as a fist nearly punched him right in the face. Hinata and Teiwai jumped from the ground, moving towards Drobo and Seikan's side. You, said Sasuke, as Hinata simply chuckled. My, what a touching reunion, Hinata said, as Teiwai reached for a flute. Drobo was confused. Hinata, what was she doing here? But they were gone for a long while, finding holes in Konoha's security. So probably it was something they didn't need to know. Mom? As Katsumi looked towards her mother who was holding up the barrier. Damn it, Sasuke, curse. Teiwai started to play her flute, Genjutsu. Leave it to me, Sasuke said as he moved. As long as he kept his eyes on her, his Sharingan would be able to detect the Genjutsu and counter it. If only Yakumo girl could cover. Wait, where the hell was the Kurama girl? Namikaze-san, here. Everyone froze as Yakumo handed sleeping Yumi over to Kushina. As Kushina took the 6-year-old in her arms. Katsumi, please, be a good daughter and come with your mother, okay? Why? Why are you doing this? I should ask you why you're not doing this. Didn't you love your father? I left at first because I thought that you needed time to become stronger. But now you can come with me, with the Akatsuki. We can be a family again. Father betrayed Konoha, said Katsumi. He betrayed everything the Will of Fire stood for. He allied himself with Danzo. He sacrificed an entire clan for petty politics, mother. He was a monster. And your brother isn't? He slaughtered the entire village. He didn't even think twice of letting Itachi kill your father. He took away everything and you still defend him. I know what he did. And yet, you stand there and still defend him. Why? Less talking, more fighting, said Hinata, as all hell broke loose. As Drobo transformed instantly, Seikan and Yukon detached himself and transformed into their second form. As Teiwai did the same, as Sasuke flashed Yuhan sign, Neji's hands were coated in flames as he shot forward. As Neji spin, the wind and the fire, Drobo tried to catch the boy in his grasp, but he soon realized that he was underestimating the boy. The fire mixed with the wind was too much. As Drobo screamed as Neji ripped right into him, tearing him to pieces. As Hinata slapped Teiwai down to the ground, well, she actually saved her, as hundreds of senbons pierced right through Yukon and Seikan. It was electrical senbons that messed with their nerves. Sasuke then brought his hands together as the lightning exploded violently, rendering their insides to mush. It is useless to resist, we won. Neji, said Hinata, you should realize. We let you kill those two, after all, weaklings. Should always go. The strong eat the weak after all. As Sasuke stepped forward. 2-on-1, no chivalry. Hey, Teiwai, remember to disrupt the Genjutsus. As they clash. Strange enough, Hinata was smiling the entire time, like she was toying with them. As Sasuke watched her moves, she was faster, stronger. Her reflexes were on point. Something was wrong. As she was using both arms, one on each, Neji couldn't understand how the hell could he not get through her defense. Just what had she trained him to become that strong? Her speed had passed human level. No, this didn't make any sense at all. She was only using one hand. As Sasuke stepped 3 steps back, "You're in my range," Hinata said, as her hand slammed into him multiple times, but Sasuke poofed away. Her ankles were grabbed as 2 hands burst on the earth. As she smirked as her feet got so hot he had to release them, she crashed her fist into the ground, ripping it apart with inhuman strength. This is like Tsunade Neji, as Sasuke substituted as he landed right beside Katsune, who was still in shock. As they looked towards the girl, she had them beaten, strength, speed, reflex, everything, but he could not give up. "Fine. I'll use my secret technique then," said Neji. As he brought his hands together, Hinata turned towards him, ready to smash down his idiotic technique, whatever he was going to use. Sasuke gripped Katsune. "Snap out of it!" "Neji's going on a suicidal run," he screamed. Hinata was curious on what this jutsu was, but then Neji transformed into her father. "You will account in nothing, you pathetic brat," said Hayashi. He then switched. Hinata's eyes went wide. "Hana, you killed me, sister. Do you sleep at night for what you did?" He then switched into an older Hyuga. "She's merely a weakling, pathetic to the clan," as Hinata froze. When it transformed into Naruto, how could I ever love such a monster? Hinata was assaulted by a furious attack from Neji as she was sent sailing and smashed into the barrier wall. "I'm gonna kill you," she said as she got to her feet, as black markings ran through her skin as Dewaya stopped playing her flute. As Hinata transformed, as Katsumi was snapped from her trance as she turned towards Hinata, transformed state. Bat-like wings come from her back, as strange eyes were on her shoulder that blink and open every now and then. Her hands turned to 3-finger claws that looked like a talent of an eagle, more than hands. Wicked, corrupted chakra was swirling around her. Neji felt something, but he didn't take his eyes off her. He looked down to see a claw hand through his chest. No, this couldn't be possible. Oh, it didn't make any sense. He didn't feel anything, but the blood was there. The hand was through his chest. What was going on? No, he couldn't die right here. He had to help Naruto. Hinata's hand pulled out as Neji fell, collapsed on the floor, so he was gonna die here. As he saw Hinata walking past him, going towards the other two, darkness started to cover his vision. Hinata smirked. "I'll kill Karen-san now. Then I'll break every bone in your body, Sasuke, and bring you to Madara-san." Sasuke's eyes shifted as he closed one of them. "Burn in hell, you bitch! Amaterasu!" Hinata screamed as the black fire got over her figure. "Burn to death, you snake whore!" Sasuke shouted. Just then a punch knocked him right inside the jaw. As the flames continued on, moving his eyesight as he caught onto the barrier. Kushina released the barrier. If all of the air was taken out, her daughter would die, and the fire was slowly burning away all the air that was inside. Hinata rolled on the ground as Teiwaya started to beat the crap into Sasuke. "Stop it! Stop it!" Hinata screamed to the heavens with her mouth open wide. As she coughed, something slid her out of her mouth and rushed over to the side. The thing over there panted heavily. My. What have I missed? Being dead," said Orochimaru with a smirk. But guys, it'll be in subscribe right here. If you want something important to do, like, subscribe, comment down below, and turn on the bell notifications to get posted. But I'm off for now. See you guys soon. Peace out.